We're clicked in.
We're clicked
Do
in.
the intro tune.
Beyond the game.
Welcome to Beyond the Game.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all
Kate's
the fun.
toes are in the vicinity, but they're not on screen.
Not today.
Not today.
Didn't get paid enough.
The kickback wasn't quite large enough for
That's it.
Kate's toe. Hey, 140 views though.
Just for my feet.
That's it.
Yeah, probably. That's why they didn't stick around long enough.
Yeah, more
It
feet,
wasn't enough foot action.
less sports. More feet.
More feet, less sports. All right. So, it's been a week since we've done episode 1. And
Been lots of
I am chock full on hockey knowledge from the last week, but Nick is like buckets of chock full on everything else Canadian teams and athletes and qualifications and everything.
It's been a week of it. It's been a lot happening. Where to begin? That's the question.
Where do we get? Well, what we had some athletes of the week last week. I was wondering how their week went. What is that vibrating? Is that
that is the machine over here.
It's touching something, I think. That's why. Nice. It's a little better. Yeah. That's better.
There we go.
We'll cut that. No, we'll keep it in.
What
Until
is
we pay
that?
someone.
What is that noise? Question of the day.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? Natural progression. Where do you want to start?
Well, I feel like touching upon the Red Bull Rampage, which we had Cassie Brown we mentioned last week, but
That's
there are
right.
actually a few other Canadians in it.
So many Canadians. Because
So
where is it again?
it was down in Virgin, Utah, USA. So if you know Utah, you know it's renowned for its lovely red rocks in Moab and all that kind of near the Arizona border.
Okay.
Gorgeous landscape. Kind of looks like Mars, the best of times. Now, a little known fact about Red Bull Rampage, it's not your standard mountain biking event where you get given a course and you're told to go down it and perform tricks and be quick and look fabulous. They give you a starting point. They give you a finish point. Give you 10 days, 2 people with you to make your own course to get down. And
Is it about speed?
it's about speed, style, difficulty of the run. So whether that's the steepness of the terrain, whether you're throwing in big drops, jumping off a cliff, all those sort of things on your bike. And being able to do tricks as well also has a play in it. It's not the main focus, but it definitely contributes in a solid way to it.
It's kind of wild.
So when we get into it, so it's an event that's really defined free riding for mountain bikers over the last probably decade now.
The Red Bull Rampage has
Red Bull
been
Ramp-
it.
It's
for
been
free
the
riding.
thing because it allows people to show how crazy can they go. And for example, this year we had a Canadian, Tom Van. Oh, I've always butchered his poor name, poor fella.
Do you want me to read it again?
I think you're
Because
gonna
you
have to
couldn't
read
say
it again.
Guatemala the other day.
Was it Guatemala? Was it?
It was Guadalajara, actually.
Yeah, Tom Van Steenbergen. There we go.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
easy.
absolutely, we got it. Well, he did a front flip off a 60-foot drop while going stupid speed. Just absolutely just front flipped on a mountain bike, right? So it's not even like easy to do.
And was it like a takeoff and then he front flipped, or it was
off
just
a-
just a
It was
dead off
it was
a cliff?
flat drop, just
Sick.
off
These Red Bull
and
people,
sending it.
man, they're insane.
And it's not just like, oh, creep to the edge and just kind of like roll off it. He was absolutely moving
Did he?
as well.
How did he win? Is that win worthy?
Didn't actually, it was a bit of controversy.
Nice controversy.
We love it. So we had another Canadian who won, Brandon Semenuk. He threw an absolutely stylish run. He fell on his first run. You get 2 attempts. The second one, he crushed it, seamless, great scoring. So he's based here in, I think it's Whistler. He's a Whistler local,
Okay.
born and bred, so he does well at the Whistler competition
Semenuk?
every year. Semenuk, yep. He's also taken to the stage in the rally world in racing cars, like Subaru WRX race cars.
I used to play that Gran Turismo
That's it. So the man is the current world champ
for Red Bull Rampage or for rally racing.
for the rally racing.
Dang!
Hence why he did the Rampage this year, because he didn't need to do the race that happened this year.
The qualifier for his other rally thing.
Yeah, so
Nice.
because he'd already wrapped it up this year, so he's already won. So he's already that, and then he's gone out and he's won Red Bull Rampage. So we've got a Canadian done that. Tom van Steenbergen has done incredibly well. He unfortunately didn't make it onto the podium, but he
front
had one of
flipped
the
with
most impressive tricks.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the tricks where if you stuff up, the risk is really high with what can happen to you if you don't land. Like what?
Death.
Yeah.
That's what
a big
Red
one.
Bull's all about. Either you stick the
Yeah.
cool landing or you're broken.
Or you're done. Yeah.
We need a video screen eventually. One day it'll be right here, and you can play us.
Put some of the shenanigans
Yeah,
that go
exactly.
on. Yeah. So yeah, he did rather well with that. We also had Brett Ryder, who did well. He's also another Canadian. He unfortunately did not make the podium either.
Okay.
But him and Tom did rather well as well, which is great. They're in top 10. And then when we get to the women, because we touched on Cassie Brown last week, they did really well. And we also had another Canadian enter into the competition. So she was a fill-in for an injured rider. Her name's Georgia Astel.
Okay.
And she's also a Whistler local. And I know her brother, weirdly. Her brother is the owner of Coast Mountain CrossFit. So I was like, okay, that
I know
makes sense.
Coast Mountain.
Yeah, one of the local gyms around here. So, yeah, his sister, she went in as a fill-in and came second.
She got second?
She got second.
Dang, as a fill-in, you're expected nothing, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. So she came in out of nowhere, blew the scene apart. Lost to a Kiwi, unfortunately. Kiwi did really well. I will give her that. First one in. Conditions were windy for the ladies. Everyone only did one run because of the wind. It was
Really?
it's just blowing a gale. So it's like when you're up in the air at the speeds or even trying to do flips, it gets a little sketchy with wind. Like it could just blow you off the landing, which is more of a problem than anything else, or can cause you to have it under rotation and things like that, where it's just with how calculated they are with like their speeds, where they're landing, it's got to be spot on.
Fair.
So we had her, and then Cassie Brown came third. So she did amazing. And then Vera Verbeek, who was another Canadian, she came, I believe it was fifth. And she had a standout for progression.
Progression?
Yeah.
What's
so
that?
They have different medals within the event. So you have like best trick, standout, and progression. So hers was progression because she pushed her line in terms of the difficulty. Wasn't the most amazing point run, but when you watch it, you were like, holy.
Like the trail, basically, was the hardest.
Yep. Loose, steep. The fact she stayed on was insane. Wasn't the most fluid or anything of that nature. Minimal tricks. So unfortunately, in the scoring aspect, a few areas she lacked. But
Do you mountain bike?
I do.
Do you do downhill mountain biking?
A little bit. I don't do tricks and stuff, but living
But the
in
progression.
I had a steep progression when I moved to Canada. All of a sudden, I went from the flat hills of Australia on the east coast to moving here where things go from 0 to 100 real quick. You're like, oh, this is a long way up. I have to ride down it. Back home, you're like, oh, there's a hill. I'll gently roll.
Down. Here, you're...
It's, you better huck and pray, man.
Yeah,
So I did it on these hills at the back here, do it where I live. Yeah, it's good. Take the dogs with me. Don't do that too often because they get lost.
They'll get all... Oh, you just let them go off leash. Obviously, they're not trailing behind.
No, Duchess is useless. My white dog, she just gets lost. If you go too quick, she'll stand there looking around.
I'm surprised they just follow you.
Yeah. People do it all the time.
Yeah, I guess
It's one of those weird kind of cultural things with mountain biking is having a dog and you just kind of let it follow you.
And the dog will follow. I wonder if
Some lead.
mine
There's
would
always
do
videos
that.
popping up with Canadian dogs or even North American dogs where they jump over jumps and stuff. I'd have to find one for you. They're great. And then, best trick of the competition went to Brandon Semenuk in the end.
that was the first place guy, right?
Yeah, first place guy. So he had a massive tail whip off a cliff drop. So basically flat, spun it around, landed onto what they call a lily pad. So it's a small little landing zone into another drop. So you better get the landing right because you've got milliseconds before you're off that into the air again. So it's like you got to get that line right, otherwise you're woo-wee, having a bad time. So, and then someone, not another Canadian, but someone else did a Superman backflip. So it's where you do a backflip.
Oh, I know that one.
You just extend out. It was a really exciting competition to watch.
Nice.
It was great. So that was over the weekend. So we had two days. So we had Friday for the ladies and then Sunday for the dudes. So that was fab. So that was our mountain biking following in from last week.
That was a Red Bull Rampage.
That was, yeah. That was great. And then, when we look back at our CFL, because we've got to touch on the CFL, right?
Yeah. What week are we in?
What week are we in? We're at the tail end of the CFL. So we're still playoff season. I think there's 2 more weeks to go.
Okay. Before
things are properly wrapped up. But it's getting to the make or break time.
People are talking about, because we were in Vancouver, that the Grey Cup is... People are talking about they're going to the Grey Cup. So I was like, when is that happening?
I don't know if it's going to happen for them, though, because they lost
But they're hosting it either way.
They are. They're hosting it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll see the Lions in it, because they lost to the Rough Riders, which is Saskatchewan, on the weekend. So that's not going to help their cause. But they did have a fabulous game. So their QB, Nathan Rourke, our athlete of the week from last week,
that's right. Yeah,
did really well.
Still doing well.
Just couldn't bring it home, unfortunately.
That's okay.
The Argonauts are looking like they are similar to the Lions. Also took a loss. So
what about the Elks?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't have the Elks on here.
Who's in the playoffs, basically? Who are we looking at here?
We got the Bombers and the Rough Riders looking pretty good at the moment. And who else? Let's see. Where are we? So we got the Alouettes are on top. The Argonauts are sitting second, so it looks like they could go through.
Blue Bombers
and then we got the Blue Bombers and the Rough Riders. So the Lions, and then we got the Elks are underneath the Lions. So it's it's not looking good for the Lions, but it's looking pretty good for the Rough Riders and the Blue Bombers on the West Division. Toronto's looking pretty strong coming into it. So, however, the Alouettes have absolutely run home with this season so far as like the overall number one. So
there's a shot that Redbacks, Ottawa, could jump there still.
It's pretty close.
There's a shot.
They need to win the next one. So
it looks like Rough Riders they could again as well. It's still close on those last two.
Yeah, it's definitely, with a few weeks to go, it's tight. So, we want to keep an eye on what's happening over the next few weeks to see who comes up trumps there, who locks in their finals position coming into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. However, we'll see whether Vancouver gets in over the Rough Riders and whether or not Toronto manages to hold out over the Redbacks.
I like Toronto to stay in.
You like Toronto?
I like Toronto to stay in. Something about the BC and the Rough Riders. Oh man, being from Edmonton, being in the middle of those two.
Yep.
And the Elks are not doing well, so they're pretty much out. They're pretty much out.
Their hopes aren't too great this season.
I think they're done. I think they're pretty much done. Toast.
Probably. And then as we look into the running world.
Yeah, what's going on?
Running's massive around here. So we had the Chicago Marathon.
We had someone from the gym run that.
We did. However, we didn't have any standout performances from our elite Canadians.
Fair enough.
Or any real crazy personal bests. There were nothing that really reached the general ears around the world of going, ooh, there's someone to watch out for at the moment. However, we also did, on the weekend, have the Canadian 10K Championships.
Oh, cool.
So that was awesome. So they're a national 10K race.
What are the times for 10Ks?
And that was taken out by Ben Flanagan. He broke his own national record by 2 seconds in a time of 28:09.
Oh!
So man was doing sub 3-minute kilometers the entire time.
Wow, that is insane. That is so impressive.
Yeah.
Ben Flanagan. Did he win? Did he win?
He won it with a record, and then he was up against some of our best marathon runners by the likes of Rory Linkletter and Jeremy Koffler, who surprisingly have come down from the 42K event down to the 10K event.
Yeah.
They did rather well. So Rory did a 28:40 and Jeremy did a 28:55.
Not far behind.
Not
but
too far, but in 10K...
10 seconds is a long time.
Pretty long
That's
way
a
to...
big gap.
Yeah, it's a pretty big gap. And then we also had the day after that, we had our premier marathon, which was the Toronto Marathon.
That's like a big one in Canada?
That's like our national championships, kind of.
Okay.
Surprisingly, though, we didn't have all our marathoners running it, which always confuses me. It always seems to be with some of these where they don't really worry about the national champs at that crazy level.
Yeah.
Unless it's qualifying times. And having just had the Olympics, it's not really time where a lot of our elites are overly concerned about trying to qualify for a team where you need to win certain events or be a part of certain events to have eligibility.
Is it too soon after the Olympics, so they just don't need to use that at all?
It's too far out.
So
We'll be looking for all the summer sports. We'll be looking at about 2 years.
Okay.
Qualifying period will start to open then. We are in our Winter Olympic qualifying period. That's just opening up. So as we look into that, we are looking at...
I
wrote this down. So we got the ice hockey. So the men and women are obviously looking like they're going to be pretty strong contenders.
Canada's team?
Canada's, as one would expect. We're just waiting on confirmation on what qualifications we need to achieve in terms of matches and rankings to progress through to secure our spot for the Milano Olympics, which is over in Italy.
Is that where the Winter Olympics are this year?
2026.
Oh, they don't even have to qualify anymore.
No?
No, they don't have to qualify for the Olympics. They're already qualified
Okay.
because they have these rankings that they do, and I believe.
Don't we need to hold it within the qualifying period for this?
Well, there's the qualifying. It's the round robin during the Olympics, but
to get to the Olympics.
To get to the Olympics, I think they have. I'll have to look at this, but I think they already have they're already having these qualifiers, and Canada doesn't need to do that because they've already. I don't know why, but I never hear of them having to do these qualifier rounds. It's like,
well, the women have already secured their spot for the Olympics.
that's what I'm saying.
But the
did
men
they do a
have not
qualifier?
yet. And it was based on previous performances and their current world ranking, but the men I don't think is based on the same.
Yeah, I think it is based on the same previous performances and world ranking.
We're gonna have to look at this
because they're not pulling Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby. They're not pulling these guys from the NHL to participate in qualifying matches. It's not happening. No, because it took everything. It took moving the world to get these players to even go to the Olympics. There's no shot they're doing qualifying rounds.
Fair enough.
So I think it's based on past performances, and Canada's just going to make it based on world championships that happen every single year, probably.
Yep.
And the players usually who play in those are the players who aren't playing in the playoffs anymore.
Yeah.
So something like that.
Okay. And then when we look at the rest of our typical winter sports, as you would, skiing, biathlon, luge, bobsled, skeleton, all that, skating, that's all going to start happening towards the tail end of this winter. So we're going to be looking January to March, maybe a bit of April, May for some of them. They're going to be our qualifying period, where the bulk of the competitions that are going to matter for these athletes is going to unfold. So we're going to have to obviously wait until then to see who gets in for Team Canada, but also it gives us a chance through the whole season lead up to really kind of check in on these athletes on who's someone to watch.
We should pick one. I mean, you do this regularly. You're already following. We should, but I think I need to jump in and I need to pick one of the sports for the Olympics that we're leading up to.
Yep.
And pick either it's specifically slalom, specifically luge, and I reckon that I need to get into specifically some of those.
I should get some names, put them in a hat for you.
names for me to just like randomly kind of look at?
Yeah, just to pick out.
Here, go look at this person. No,
Yeah.
I want to pick the sport, and then I'll find the stories within the sport.
Okay. You can do that.
I'm getting sassed. I'm getting sassed over here.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
You're allowed to do that. And then we turn our heads to women's football and rugby. So we got the double. So new news from that side of the world as we look to see our women's new football league, the NS. What's it called?
Wait.
The NWSL.
American football?
No.
Soccer.
Round ball.
Football.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
Can't
wearing.
touch it with your hand.
Got it.
That one.
Noted.
Yep. So it's a USA-based league, but we are gonna. It's kind of like the MSL.
Yeah.
So which is gonna be great.
MLS.
MLS. That's it. Sorry.
Nice.
Not bad. And then we have our wonderful Canadian women's national captain, Sinclair.
Good old Sinclair.
She has just bought into the Vancouver team as part of the ownership.
Really?
Yep.
Sick.
So we have a legend of the sport who's still currently active in the professional leagues, who's now
Owns a team partially.
partly owning a team of this new league. Because
Sick.
she's playing, I believe it's for either New Jersey or the New York team
Okay.
currently. And she was just up in town playing a match up here. They came up to play, which was great. So we
Wow.
got to see her play, and she got a jersey as part of kind of celebration of becoming part of the ownership team.
That's so sick. I hear a lot of that with soccer players buying teams or being partners in teams.
Oh, yeah.
Like Messi in Florida, right?
Yep. Well, he's not part owner yet, but he, like David Beckham, has capacity to buy a new team,
Oh, is that what it is?
buy into a team,
Oh.
or a new team that comes into the league. Because that's what Beckham did. So that's how Miami became a thing. Was his contract said he could buy a team. I think it was either at X price or something when he retired, or what
From
when it became
Galaxy.
an option. So he did that. Messi's has got that, but he's also getting paid out on profit to do with like viewerships and a few other crazy deals. So the man's not doing too shabby because he brought stupid money to the sport.
Yeah.
But I believe he's leaving. This is his last season
Yeah.
in the league. He's moving down to Argentina
Oh,
to play for his first club.
Classic.
Old
team.
boys.
Yeah.
So that would be good. But yeah, we're looking at the Vancouver Rise team getting some good funding in with Sinclair coming on board. So that's going to be
The
fabulous. to see.
Rise.
Rise.
I like that. That's a great name.
It is going to be good. So
Yeah.
that hasn't kicked off yet. We're still a couple of months away from kickoff of that. They're finalizing all the teams are starting to kind of like pop up with
Yeah.
the ownerships, players, captains, the back end of the teams. That's still being like formed up.
Oh, okay.
So like if you look into any of the teams in that new league, you'll start to see like they're announcing like key positions from like ops, owners, coaches, all of that.
Sick.
So
Is this so? There's the women's league in the U.S.
yeah.
And then this is a different league. Is this
This
going
is
to
a
be a
different
league that's
league
going to be
that's gonna
below it,
be-
kind of thing?
This will be above it.
This is going to be higher quality.
Yeah, the goal of this is to create kind of like the MLS.
Okay,
So
got it. They're saying this is going to be the soccer league to be in then.
Yep.
Football.
For women.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this should be. They really want to set the standard there.
Yeah.
Because the ladies' league over in Europe is starting to really excel.
Yeah.
They need something over here because otherwise North American football is going to fall behind.
Yeah.
And we can't have that.
No.
So, yeah, we're going to look to see all the other teams that pop up. But at the moment, we've got Vancouver. I believe that's a Toronto team.
Mhm.
I'm not too sure if we've got any else up this way, but pretty standard at the moment for Canada to have Vancouver
And Toronto.
Yeah.
They'll set the standard.
That's it.
Yep.
And then we move to the lovely round ball. So not elliptical ball, rugby, dishing the pill, if you will, as an Aussie. Where we had Canada go up against England on the weekend as one of our last matches for the year.
How did they do?
We unfortunately didn't come away with a win. It was close. I believe it was 21-12.
Okay.
So it was a close match, good match.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it was 29-20. Sorry. We just
That's
fell
even
short.
better.
That's even better. It was a great match.
Yep.
My wonderful wife was actually at the game. with kids.
Nice.
She said she spent more time watching the kids, unfortunately, but
Hey,
the
that's
quality
what you
of
gotta do.
football was very good to watch. She said it was really good spectating.
I thought it was rugby.
Rugby, sorry.
Nice.
I say football because back home we say football for everything. Everything's football.
Everything. That.
Everything's football. You go watch the football, and it could mean anything from rugby union to rugby league to soccer to AFL. You're going to watch the football.
This is North America. We got to put a label on it.
And we also have Gaelic football, which is also football. Gaelic football is like a weird hybrid between rugby, AFL, and soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. Good.
This is why we need names for everything, because we get lost in all the different kinds of footy.
Welcome to Australia, my man. You just got to know the context. You're going to watch the footy, you better know which one I'm talking about.
Sorry, Canadian audience. You're hooped, I guess.
Yeah. You guys will catch on. It'll be all right.
Rugby, is that... Are we in the throes of that right now? Or what?
We are at the tail end of the international football for the ladies.
Okay.
So the ladies has 3 tiers of the international rugby. So you got tier 1, 2, and 3.
Nice.
So England's actually ranked number 1 globally, and Canada was ranked number 2 globally. So we've maintained our spot
Hey!
there. So this win has secured us, so we're above France and New Zealand, which is quite impressive because in the rugby world, France and New Zealand are powerhouses, and so is England. Canada is not renowned for it. So,
But we're second, so...
our ladies here have been doing super well. I mean, we came away with a silver medal at the Olympics in the 7s.
We did?
Yeah, our chicks crushed it.
Let's
and we got
go!
a bunch of our 7s ladies from the Olympics who also play in our 15 side.
Yeah.
So if you like 7s and you know any of them, you'll see them in our 15 side. But they're also coming to Vancouver in February. So we'll get to see our 7s team crack on along with all the other ladies from the rest of the other 11 countries. Coming against like 12 teams from each country. For men and women.
My sister used to play. She used
Yeah.
to play. She's pretty badass. Rugby players are badass.
They will throw you across the room if you mess
Yeah.
up. You don't want to do that. Super nice usually, but you definitely don't want to push them around.
I'm not
Actually,
pushing
you might
a single
not
rugby
be able to
player.
push them around.
No,
I mean,
you can't push them around. That's the whole point.
That's very hard, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a couple of ladies do really well. We had Sophie Degore
Tegure.
and then Elisa Alari. Give me the correction.
Yeah.
Alari?
Alyssa O'Leary.
Yeah. And yeah, they did really well. They were standout performers. Unfortunately, our ability to play against Canada's strong kicking game and general discipline kind of let us down in the last 20. So that's where we lost it. They managed to finish the game out really well. We just couldn't quite hang on. So maybe that's where we improve on. And when next time we see them go head to head, we can see either the tides turn or a little closer again. So we'll see how that goes. So that's our pretty much majors events outside of touching into our niche sports, other than you giving us the rundown on the hockey.
I give a quick rundown.
Give us the rundown.
Give us a quick
I
rundown?
have no idea what happened this week.
Okay. So, what's going on? If we're starting from the bottom, that's Edmonton and Vancouver. They went 0-4 their first 3 games. They were absolutely... I think Vancouver is 0-2-2 right now. And Edmonton was 0-3, and they won their last game last night against Philly. So those two are at the bottom. However, unexpectedly, at the top, Calgary, 4-0. They're thriving. They're first in the division.
What?
Yeah, they were horrible last year. Right now, riding some great hot streaks, some solid, great all-around team play. 4-0. Winnipeg.
Did they have a really good draft season?
No, they were fine. They've got great young players, though. You know, Connor Zeri's there. There's a few others. They're really leaning into Sharon Govich. He's got a big, fat new deal. And so they've. I think they're just... The whole thing is that they were rebuilding. And now they're 4-0. So rebuilding, they were supposed to acknowledge to the fan base that this is not going to be a good year. So far, it's a great year.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Okay.
The debut of that number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
I think we were talking about he was going to start playing.
Yeah.
He scored in his first 7 minutes. I can't remember if we talked about that.
No.
Yeah.
You mentioned that he was going to, that he was going to kind of get on. We looked to see how he went.
Yep. Scored in his first 7 minutes.
Yep.
And he got an assist. So, but now he's
It's a good start.
injured now,
Oh.
week to week. So that's
What?
unfortunate for the number 1.
What? Where are we going wrong with these athletes, these Canadian athletes, to get injured like that?
It's just the young guys. It seems like the young guys, well, it's all of them, all Canadian. It's hockey. You're going to get injured.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen.
Is there just a deficit in, like, strength, or is it just, like...
He's a young guy. He's lighter, right?
Okay.
He's under 200 pounds. And if you're under 200 pounds going up against 6'3", 220-pound, 230-pound behemoths on the defense,
Yeah.
you're going to get crushed.
Yeah, okay.
So I forgot to check out what his injury is, but he's week to week, so
He's
it's
week to week, okay.
definitely something a little bit more serious.
Yep.
But leading the league, both in goals, we got a Canadian boy who's playing for Utah
Okay.
Hockey Club. We got
Yep.
5 goals, had 5 goals in his first 3 games, which
Not bad.
was pretty awesome.
Yep.
Dylan Gunther, young guy too.
Okay.
As well as leading the league in points right now. Again, it's first week of the season, so we're still early. Mr. Sam Reinhart from West Vancouver.
Where's he?
He's
play
playing
for?
in Florida on the Stanley Cup winning team from the previous year.
That's the Panthers, yeah?
Yeah, the Panthers. So he's continuing. I think it was Sam Bennett who had a great year last year. Sam Reinhart didn't have like a crazy, amazing year, but he still had a I he's leading the league right now with Mark Stone right behind him as well. And what's really big for those guys is, I think Mark Stone, he's the captain in Vegas.
Yep.
Also got 8 points, so he's tied for the lead. We're gearing up for the World Cup of Hockey, which is happening in the new year in 2025.
Are there going to be many of them jumping on the World Cup? Is
And-
that something they do from professional league going into it?
The World Cup is a mess. We haven't had it for years. It's just something it's the nation. It's actually like the 4 nations face-off or something like that. It's basically the way that the hockey community sees it.
Yeah.
It's the warm-up and the tryouts for 2026 Olympics. That's basically what it is. It was a way for us to say, hey, here's some best on best hockey.
Yep. Here's some international.
Here's some best on best to tide you over till we get to the Olympics.
Yeah, okay.
Because this is the first time this is ever happening.
Yep.
You're not including Russia, which has some of the best hockey players in the world.
Yeah, but they've been in trouble recently.
Yeah, but I understand the nation has been, but these players are some of the best in the world. And if you can't say it's best on best without the Russians.
Just tell them to join a different country.
Yes.
Nigeria.
I think some of
The Russians should just play for, like, I don't know, New Zealand.
I don't think the Russian government will let them do that.
Oh, that's
Don't come for us. So
New Zealand would welcome them with open arms. I'm sure they'd appreciate having a great hockey team. Maybe even like Singapore. I'm sure they don't have a hockey team.
they have a hockey team, actually, because I follow the Philippines hockey team.
There's a hockey. What?
Yeah, I can't remember what league that they play in or international play that they play in, but I follow them lightly and just because they have a cool jersey. That Philippines hockey jersey is pretty darn cool. There's a couple Filipino. We won't go into it. They're American. This is a Canadian podcast.
That it is. And then we're gonna divert off to a little fun fact. We had our little, I believe she's 16, surfer, Erin Brooks, who had a stellar year on what we call the Challengers Tour. So it's the tour where you try to make it to the top division, which is the WSL, the World Surf League.
Yeah.
She's qualified to go into the World Surf League for next year. Next season. So it's officially come through. And this is kind of on the back end of her taken out as a wild card entrant into a WSL comp.
Yeah.
Because they do that. They love to give wild cards for people just because...
New hype.
That's it. Some fresh faces, local faces, potentially. So she got the call up for, I believe it was the Tahiti... no, it wasn't the Tahiti event. Fiji event. One of our tail end events. She took it out and won the event as a wild card.
As a 16-year-old?
As 16. Yeah, so she won the Fiji event. which was unreal. Like, as a 16-year-old, as a Canadian, mind you, she's a dual, so she's kind of 50-50 with us and the Americans.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You know,
fair.
we'll have to just overlook that
Yep,
fact. But
she's
she's Canadian.
Canadian.
She flies the flag for Canada
Great.
when she surfs, which is awesome. So yeah, she started off the year by winning the first CT event down in Australia at Snappers Rocks, which
Nice.
was awesome, and then just kind of kept that flow going all season. So we've now got a now 17-year-old coming into the World Surf League for Canada, representing us in the surf, which is, I mean, as we all know here, there's not a lot of surf going around in Canada.
Just in Nanaimo.
Yeah.
Or what? Tofino. Sorry.
Yeah, Tofino.
Not Nanaimo.
There's wake surfing on the lake, but that's not the same.
Not the same.
So, you know, it was great to see her have some success. So, going to be great to follow her next year throughout the tour. They've
Cool.
got a bunch of stops all year round, pretty much. So, we're going to be seeing them from pretty much January onwards. So, we'll be paying attention to that as down south goes into summer.
Yeah.
So, she had great success there.
What's her name again?
Erin Brooks.
Erin Brooks. That's a Canadian name.
What, Brooks or the Erin?
I don't know. Just Erin Brooks. Sounds very North American to me.
Okay. And then we have one that I'm particularly impressed with, which is also a little unknown fact for a lot of people about our athlete of the week. Chris Bumstead.
Oh, Bummy Boy. That's right.
C-Bum, as he is better known.
How did we not start with C-Bum?
I thought we'd finish with him because
That's-
this is an incredible feat, incredible notes, and most people don't know he is Canadian.
That's right.
I mean, if you look at his ankle, he's got a maple leaf tattooed on his ankle. So, a little bit of a giveaway.
Yeah.
But the man does live down in the US, but, you know.
Get your money.
Yeah, you do your thing, my man. But he, over the weekend, competed in the Mr. Olympia to take away his 6th title in 6 years.
And final.
Yeah, and retired. So, yeah. Our first and last time having him as our athlete of the week, unfortunately.
Who
But
knows? Maybe he'll
it's-
start doing CrossFit now. He does enjoy CrossFit.
Man, the dude weighs 230, 240
He won't
pounds.
be weighing that for a very long time.
He's an absolute
If he's
monster.
retiring from classic physique, he will not be weighing that.
No. But yeah, so he's he's absolutely set the scene for the bodybuilding,
Yes.
world with his approach to the balance and the aesthetics of the classic physique.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, he only had to show up this year pretty much because if you look at some of the other athletes, they just don't have the weight capacity to make the changes needed to take Chris on.
Mm-hmm.
He just had to keep what he was doing from last year, make a few subtle changes, which he did,
Mm-hmm.
and it was basically his approach, his professionality to the sport, and the respect he gave it and the community was just something we hadn't seen for a while. And like the last 6 years has been really refreshing with him just slowly stepping into this role as the leader in the sport. And yeah, as I kept seeing over and over again over the weekend, people were saying the man has a presence in the space.
Mhm.
When he steps into the room, particularly in comp season, everyone knows he's there.
Yeah.
So, but he is our athlete of the week. It's
Oh.
it's hard to say you can't have that as someone who's done what he's doing on the stage and off the stage, stuff for mental health, trying to inspire the new generation of athletes up here in Canada into the bodybuilding world, and specifically just making those right moves, the sacrifices, the hard work that goes into, well, reaching the height that you
Mhm.
need to have success in sports like that.
What
So-
a beast.
But those are our that's the athlete of the week, my man.
Nice.
So
Man. Chris Bumstead.
yeah.
What a legend. He's got a great YouTube channel. You should check out his YouTube channel too. He does some teaching on there, I think, as well. Teaching and tips as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really great.
Definitely check it out. It's brilliant. And then when we look at what's coming up soon, there's not a huge amount actually. It's kind of a bit of a quiet period over the next week. We've got obviously our wonderful NHL teams. We've got our CFL still unfolding. We've got a few running events that are going to be kicking off. Nothing of any crazy nature. But do let us know if there are any events we are missing that are coming out, so we can add them into our next one.
Yep.
Because I haven't really found a huge amount. It's a bit quiet.
Well,
but
the
we got
CFL
transition.
sounds pretty huge, because we're heading into the playoffs now, and they don't last very long.
Yeah.
It's one game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the nice build-up that I'm looking forward to, and just seeing how, because it's so early in the NHL that anything can happen still.
Yeah.
There's 82 games. We're 4 games in. We got weeks. Well, this goes till June.
Yeah.
So we got time.
And then we get to start paying a bit more attention to our Canadians in the NFL. Gotta go digging around for those.
Oh,
find out a bit
yeah.
more.
We gotta find some Canadian boys down
There's
there.
a bunch of them. There's not been really any crazy standouts at the moment. There's been some
I'll find some
performances,
niche
but
stats.
yeah, you can be my stat. You'd be the stat guy.
I'll be the random niche, the Canadian has the most takeaways all season or something like that.
I hope so. Hopefully, there's some good
Takeaways?
stats.
Interceptions. Sorry, I'm in hockey
Interception.
mode right now.
Interceptions.
Yeah,
I want some good sacks.
it'd be great if we had a Canadian who had some quarterback had the most fumbles. That'd be kind of funny too, though.
Butterfingers.
Number one in, whoa, syrup fingers.
Oh
No, that would be sticky. That'd be great. You got sticky fingers.
yeah. Well, I don't know if that helps you all the time though.
It does. Sticky fingers in football.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I don't know. Well, if you can't release the ball, it's not European handball where you want to
No, this is gonna. Well, if you're the quarterback, you want smooth fingers, but if you're the running back, you want sticky fingers. That guy's lacing his
Yeah, okay,
his
fair enough.
fingers
Yeah.
with syrup.
Yeah. Bring out the Maple Boys. Dunkin' time. The Dunkin' Donuts next, Dad. Canadians playing football, just dunking their donuts and hand in, just good times.
Whatever beer league football is in Canada, that sounds like it.
I'd be game.
God,
I'm so game. Move this dad bod on the field.
you'd crush everyone.
I'd be an athlete. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah, you'd be great.
I could make the podcast.
You'd be great at football if you were to start playing right now.
I could make the podcast. It'd be great.
Yeah, we could do live stream that.
Well, I don't know if that's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. You'd crush everyone.
Man, I'm a walking fridge. I'm a walking fridge with
Strong
squeaky wheels.
fridge. This guy's a freaking Samsung.
I'm a Samsung.
That's a good fridge, right? They got screens on the front.
Man, I want an LG. Life is good.
Is that what that stands for?
Life's good. I don't think there is an is, but I think it's life's good.
All right.
But
Thanks for coming to Beyond the Game. We're talking about fridges here.
bringing you the news.
Yes, bringing you the Canadian athletes and teams news of the week.
Yeah.
And we're excited to see what happens this week, and we'll catch up next week.
Yeah. Let us know if we've missed anything, things to add. And yeah, as Jordan said, we'll see you next week.
Kate's still here, too.
Bye.